Hello world, welcome to another segment of Just Sayin with Willie Dexter Harris. Once again, I'm your host, Willie Dexter Harris, and this first segment, I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I got a lot of my viewers, who sees me out publicly. They ask me a couple of questions. I think some of them are weird questions, and some of them are kind of questions that I kind of want to stray away from, but I can't do it, what I'm saying, anymore. But I want to at least make a point to where you'll understand where I'm coming from, and possibly these two sides, so to speak, can get a better understanding of each other. First of all, a lot of people ask questions about my hat. They want to know what's the story with the hat. Most importantly, I have an undying and a forever love for our United States military. That's all branches. That's the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, the Coast Guards, as well as the Army, which I am personally affiliated with through family, personal family. So that's why I mostly wear the Army hat. But I have nothing but love for our entire, government system as far as the military is concerned. I know, you hear a lot of stuff, people saying stuff about, our chief executive of the military, and the movements that he's making and the things that he's doing, like I said, I don't call names, and I really don't like pointing fingers and speaking negatively about, certain situations, but I will say this. We put him there. We put him in the office. For those of you, once again, like I've said before in earlier segments, everybody wants to talk after the fact. Everybody has something to say after the fact. But when it was time to go to the polls to vote and to pick the choice that you thought would be a better fit, many of you chose not to go. And many of you, voted in the direction of the president. But for those of you who have such a problem with what's going on now, those of you who didn't vote at all, you really don't have a say-so. And that's not a personal opinion, that's a fact. You know what I mean? Because how can you criticize something that you didn't play a part in? You know what I'm saying? First of all, and if you knew what the outcome was going to be, or you kind of felt what the outcome was going to be, then why, did you stay at home or do whatever you did to prevent yourself from voting? And polls are open early and they're voted late. So me being to work and me having to do this or me having to do that is no excuse to exercise a right that many people have to fight, die, to make sure you had. Now, they gave up their life in order to get you something that you don't even appreciate, nor do you utilize. Very sad. You know what I mean? So therefore, why would you speak up against it? You have nothing to say. You have absolutely, positively nothing to say. And that, like I said, that is not a personal opinion. It's a fact. Take it how you want to. You know what I mean? And also, they want to ask questions about the situation as far as the police officers and the situation that's going on with them. Now, I can't speak on other cities and other states. I watch Facebook just like y'all do. I watch Instagram. I see, a lot of the total unnecessary things that are done, in regards to these officers toward, civilians. But at the same time, I see a lot of provoking that's going on as far as, the officers are there to do one job. You can sit there with your phone and film all day long. You know what I'm saying? That is your right as an American citizen. But when you're yelling and screaming and cussing at them and saying ridiculous stuff to them while they're trying to do their job, of course you're going to make them swing a certain route. You know what I mean? You say they're arrogant anyway. You say they think they're above the law anyway. If you have those opinions, then why are you fighting them? Makes absolutely no sense. You have to stay in your lane. And because yelling and screaming and arguing is not going to get anything accomplished. When you're doing something, just use yourself as an example. When you are in a situation and someone starts to yell at you, someone starts to talk to you crazy, someone starts to be belligerent, you know what I'm saying? What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to block them out. Either you're going to block them out or you're going to retaliate. One or the other is going to happen. You're either going to block them or you're going to retaliate. So what makes you think they're not going to do it? Especially when you're saying already that they feel like they have a sense of authority. Stop arguing with these police officers. Stop causing unnecessary confusion when these officers are on the scene, because believe it or not, this is a very dangerous world that we live in. You know, here in my city of Shreveport, it is out of control. You know what I'm saying? As far as the violence, as far as the shootings, killings that's going on in my city, Google it. It's out of control here, and we can't just say it's totally the police's fault. It's not. The police are not the ones out here shooting everywhere you look around. The police are not the ones that are out here robbing and causing all kinds of mischief around the cities or around the towns or wherever they're policing or presiding over. They're not the ones doing that, and you can't say that the way to clear it, or the way to get a better understanding of it, is okay, well, we need to put sanctions on the police. For what? For what? I say they need to be a little better trained as far as their ability to communicate, you know what I'm saying, with the public and with the civilians. I definitely say that, and I agree with that, 100%. You know, that there has to be some kind of medium, you know what I mean, that can be met, because you can only call the police after something happened. The police are not standing there, when these guys are pulling guns out, shooting people. A good friend of mine got shot this weekend, and he was a very good guy, a little young guy, didn't mean anybody no harm, wasn't even a gangbanger. That situation happened over some kind of disagreement inside his house. And what could the police have done to prevent that from happening? Nothing. They can only come after the fact. Just like when you call in the ambulances to come and assist in medical emergencies. They're not just going to sit there and stand outside your house or ride around, different areas, say, okay, we expect something to happen, so therefore we're just going to hang out in this area. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We need to get a understanding of ourselves, first of all. Like I said, I am in no way condoning any of the negative things that are being done as far as the officers, but at the same time, I'm not going to condone, any of the craziness that goes on. I say we because I don't like to single people out, and you notice I really don't like too much calling names, but I say we because I'm with you all. We all one. You know what I mean? In my mind state. So when I say we, I'm speaking about all of us, and we need to get a better understanding of ourselves. We need to learn how to control ourselves, because pulling guns over arguments over girls, or pulling guns over arguments over $5, $10, $15, $20, you out there in the street fighting and causing madness over petty stuff. And then when the police shows up on the scene, you want to wonder why you there. Cars driving up and down the highway, driving through the inner cities and in the neighborhoods where kids are outside playing all the time, being that this is summer now and they're out of school, and you speeding up and down the street, swerving and doing, God knows what, and then all of a sudden a police car gets behind you and pull you over, and the first thing you said, what'd you pull me over for? Why are you stopping me? That's stupid. It's time to get away from that madness. It's time to get away from the stupidity. If you want a better society, if you want a better way of life, it starts with us. You know what I mean? They're just there to do their job. Just like someone who works at a corporate manufacturing company, or someone who works in the medical field, or someone who even works fast food. When you get up in the morning and you go to work, or afternoon or whatever, and you go to work, you have a particular job that you have to do. And you have a protocol that you must follow. So therefore, if you have that obligation, so does these guys, and theirs is a lot more dangerous than the ones that we live in, because they're always put in situations to where it's life or death. So of course these people want to go home to their families, you know what I mean? Of course these people want to live to see tomorrow, but they're put in a position where they have to defend your freedom, they have to defend your rights. So if you're going to criticize, then don't put yourself in a position to where this madness will take place. I mean, it's ridiculous, and that's all people want to talk about is what they did. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Get control of yourself. You know what I mean? And the only way that any kind of change or any kind of positive outcome can come out of this is, one is going to have to chill out. And 9 times out of 10 is us. We're going to have to chill out. We're going to have to relax. We're going to have to get better control of our emotions. We have to get better control of our feelings. We have to stop thinking that we are above the law. You want to say that they are, but we have to, stop acting accordingly, because they can pull a string to make it seem like they are, but you can't. You know what I'm saying? You stand vulnerable to this system. So you must play your role, stay in your lane, stop disrespecting these police officers or anybody who's in authority, just like your bosses at your work. You know what I mean? And until we get a better understanding of that, nothing's ever going to go right. And we'll be right back after this with Just Saying with Willie Dexter Harris.
You've run from foster homes in 6 counties.
I can take care of myself.
When you're 18, give these people a chance, because that's what they're giving you.
This is Billy Batson. Make sure you make him feel at home.
They seem nice, but don't buy it. It gets real Game of Thrones around here. Dude, just messing around. You look at me and you're like, why so dark? You're a disabled foster kid. You've got it all. If you could have one superpower, what would you pick? Everybody chooses flight. You know why?
So they can fly away from this conversation?
No, because heroes fly.
What, you need your fake family to stand up for you? Hey! Man, sorry about that. Go, go, go! Grab it! Get out the way!
Billy Batson, I choose you as champion.
Hello?
Say my name so my powers may flow through you.
But I don't know your name, sir.
Shazam.
Wait, for real? Say, okay! Shazam?
This means Billy!
What is happening?
You're the only person I know that knows anything about this Cape Crusader stuff.
Can I...
Oh, yeah. That's crazy, right?
What are your superpowers?
Superpowers, dude? I don't even know how to pee in this thing.
AM to the PM, PM to the AM.
You have super strength. Can you fly?
If I quit your PM, I still rock Mercedes. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
You okay? Why are you talking?
Beyond move. Sit down.
You know, I don't think that's gonna buff out.
Your phone's charged. Your phone's charged.
The hell?
You're like a bad guy, right?
Gentlemen!
You have bullet immunity!
I'm bulletproof.
You're dead.
Sorry about your window, but you're welcome for not getting robbed. Oh, hey, what's up? I'm a superhero.
All right, we're back. We're Just Saying with Willie Dexter Harris. Something I want to talk about, on a more kind of uplifted note other than what we just spoke about on this segment. But I just want to make it clear, man. I mean, I care about everybody, and I hate to hear, stuff happen to good people, and it bothers me, and that's why, last segment I just wanted to make that clear. You know what I mean? But I want to switch it again. We're gonna get off of that, and we'll deal with that maybe on another show or whatnot, because I'm sure that this won't end. But most definitely, the main thing that I want to touch on is the fact that reality TV. Okay, we saw the Love and Hip Hop reunion part 2 end. We saw the situation as far as what went on with Stevie J and his longtime hate for Erica Mena. You know what I mean? But I was misquoted, or I was given wrong information. He didn't put his hands on the woman, and I didn't really understand that anyway, but he didn't put his hand on the woman like, my earlier report said, and I apologize for that misinformation. And another thing that I went back and I looked at my show, and I noticed that I mentioned something about LSU football. And like everybody know, every time you see my show, it's something LSU. So, I have an undying love for my LSU Tigers. But I mentioned that, who did I say? Matt Flynn was the quarterback when LSU won that national championship, and that wasn't true. When it was Matt Monk. Matt Monk was the quarterback at the time. I investigated it, I checked into it, and I want to apologize for that information. But Matt Monk was the last of the Nick Saban quarterback deals, and Matt Flynn was the first of the new coach. You know what I'm saying? So I'm make sure I apologize to that. But again, his name was not Matt Flynn, who was the quarterback for that national title. It was Matt Monk. But yet it still wasn't Jamarcus Russell. You know what I mean? And also the LeBron James situation. I have no opinion as far as how you feel about him, or the way you like him or don't like him, or why you don't like him or whatnot. We're just gonna have to sit back and let this season unfold. But this NBA situation is getting out of control, ridiculous. Because soon as LeBron goes to LA, then all of a sudden Golden State goes and get another rock star, DeMarcus Cousins. He's being heavily criticized for that decision, but if looking back and investigated, there wasn't very many teams that was interested in Cousins because of that injury he suffered when he was with the New Orleans Pelicans. So for him to take a deal, and him being a huge franchise player like he is, and he's only taking a $5 million deal, that sounds kind of weird talking about $5 million only. But he's only in comparison to the money that they make. But he took a $5 million deal, which meant that it was very limited where he can go, and Golden State chose to take him on. I don't know what Golden State and Steve Kerr and those guys are trying to do over there. I guess they're trying to build a team that could never be beat. But that'll all in the next couple of years, because it's going to be contract time for a lot of those Golden State Warriors, and I don't think that they're all going to be re-signed. Kevin Durant's done next year. Klay Thompson's done next year. Draymond Green's about to renegotiate a contract. In the next couple of years, Steph Curry is going to renegotiate a contract. Of all those people that I just named, Steph Curry is probably going to be the only one that will still be in Golden State over the next couple of years, because he's their rock star. He's their rock. You know what I mean? So when you talk about what the Lakers are doing, and that ridiculous trade that took place, which was proof that nobody cares about you, anybody's expendable, with DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard. That trade, I don't understand that trade myself. Neither one of the parties wanted to go to either of those teams, and DeRozan didn't even know he was on the trading block. He didn't find out anything about he was even being considered for a trade until after he was gone. That's very disrespectful to a guy who's supposedly your franchise player. He was your face of your team, not Drake. He was the face of your team, and to disrespect him like that and just trade him off, it's like a slap in the face not only to him, but it's a slap in the face to the Toronto City, to the Toronto Raptor fan base, because those people love this guy. This guy loved them. And to just ship him off without notice, that was totally out of line, But once again, everybody want to say business is business, business is business. No, it's better ways of doing business, and that wasn't one of the ways of doing business. Everybody want to know what's going to happen with Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony is in a weird situation. I think he should just retire, me personally, unless he plans on doing something spectacular next season. If he doesn't produce to the numbers that he was producing in his earlier years, I think Carmelo Anthony should just go ahead and let it go. You opted into a contract with Oklahoma, and obviously they had no intentions of keeping you. They just couldn't trade you because you had a no trade clause. So you made a deal with them to go to Atlanta really for nothing. because you're going to get your money. You're going to, what is it, 28, 25, something like that, $1 million, basically to do nothing. Because when they trade him to Atlanta, it's already said that they're going to cut him. You know, Atlanta Hawks have no intentions of keeping him. And that shows a lot as far as how they see, you know, Carmelo Anthony as far as an athlete or an asset to their team. And think back, Carmelo Anthony was a part of that draft that included LeBron James going #1 and he going #2. In that same draft came a little guy by the name of Dwayne Wade. That same draft. Now look back at what's going on present day. LeBron James still the GOAT, still at the top of his game, still producing for every team that he has played for. Been to the finals 8 years in a row, which is almost Bill Russell numbers. He just didn't win them all. Bill won them all. But then you got Dwayne Wade, who was a huge, you know, asset to the city of Miami, to the Miami Heat basketball organization. He did great things, but it seemed like he's coming more toward the end of his career. But he still was a very productive player throughout his career. Carmelo Anthony, back and forth, back and forth. Huge when he first got to the Denver. Then he started falling off in Denver. Then he wanted to leave Denver. Then he started back producing again for Denver. Then he gets traded to New York, and I don't know what was going on with him and Phil Jackson, but I bet what Phil Jackson was saying to him that was upsetting him was probably the same thing that I'm saying about him right now, man. You're not fighting. You're not giving it all you got. You're not trying to be, you know, the top player. You're not trying to show that I'm Carmelo Anthony and I deserve this or I deserve that. You're just a guy who basically, man, just sitting there playing ball, making free money. That's all I see. Because Oklahoma City, in no way, form, or fashion, with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony on the same team with their surrounding cast, and that's as far as you got in the playoffs, because there was a weak link, and the weak link was Carmelo Anthony. And I don't mean to just shoot at Carmelo, but I mean, we talking sports and we being 100. I think it's time for Carmelo to put the shoes down, man. You know, you talk pretty good. You know, go on ESPN, be a commentator. Come get this chair and sit by me. But as far as your NBA career, man, go ahead and let it go, man. You're the all-time leading scorer in U.S. Olympic history. You know, you've been an all-star several years. You know, you put up hella numbers, you know what I'm saying, during the early to the mid part of your career. You just start kind of softening up these last, I'll say, 3 to 4 years. And so you're going to get a Hall of Fame bid. You'll get to the Hall of Fame, you know, but as far as now, as you know, before hurting a team like Houston where you're considering going, or a team like Philadelphia or wherever, you're going to hurt them more than you help them. So just like I say, that's just my personal opinion, is that I think, you know what I'm saying, that he should just let that go, because he's not an asset anymore. And on that note, we'll be right back with Just Saying with Willie Dexter Harris.
Welcome to Tide Pods Talk with Gronk. I'm Gronk. I'm big and awesome, but this guy is little. Can it really clean? Heck yeah, it can. It's concentrated detergent plus stain fighters plus odor fighters that fight for clean. Boom! Ugh. Even this entire bottle can't beat Tide Pods. And now a word from future Gronk. Ugh. Tide Pods. If it's clean, it's got to be Tide.
Dad, can we open the sunroof?
Yes.
You sure we're going the right way?
Yes.
Dad, did you bring the kombucha?
Yes.
Are your hands at 10 and 2? Is that how cows are made? Is the earth round?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Dad, is this the middle of nowhere?
Yes.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. Did that bear just poo in our tent?
Yes.
Does the all-new 7-passenger Buick Enclave have everything your family wants in an SUV?
Yes.
Well, all right, we're back once again with Just Saying with your man Willie Dexter Harris. I want to speak a little bit for this final segment about some of the guys that I've had on the show, DK Dudley and Davey Wavy. Shout out to those guys, man. I enjoyed them last week. I told you that I would bring them back this week, but our schedules conflicted, so we wasn't able to make that happen on this week. But on next week they will be back, and my guys, I might turn them loose again. I might pull a Johnny Carson again, and turn them loose at the end of the show like I did last time. There's some hilarious guys, man. Very cool, very humble, very respectful young guys, man. And like I say, I'm gonna do all I can, to help anybody who's interested in pursuing entertainment with the connections I now have and the friends I now know, people I've even met throughout the time of me doing this TV show. So I'm gonna do all I can. Like I said, as far as rappers, singers, models, comedians, whatever, whatever your talent may be, dancers. I have a lot of connections in other cities, and I could possibly make some things happen for you. And so enjoy this ride with me and these two guys, because they may be the example that I'm going to use to show that we could take something and make it great in this area. Shout out to Longview, Texas. That's where those guys are from. They're not from the Shreveport city, but they're from the surrounding Shreveport area. And we have a lot of love for our surrounding areas as well. Mansfield, Coshada, shout out to them. But next week, they'll be back. DK Dudley and my boy Davey Wavy. They're going to be here next week, and they're going to tear you up again like they did last time. But this time I'm going to have a box of Kleenex with me, man, because, man, them guys had me in tears. And also, as far as recording, we're in the works of working with my son. His name's DK the Best, you know what I mean? And one of my sons, what's up, Tariq, the other one. And also, I have a nephew by the name of Gerald Wayne. Those guys, we're getting them in the studio pretty soon, and we're going to start working on some projects with them. Like I say, my number's, here, and my email's here. So feel free to hit me up. Either way, I check every number. If I get a missed call, I'm one of those people, I go back through my missed calls and I call everybody back. It may be the next day, but I call everybody back. So there's no reason of saying that, he didn't get back to me or I couldn't get in touch with him. No, that's not true. You can always reach me. Like I said, if I may not answer the phone at the time, but whenever, I go back and I check my missed calls, I'm going to call you back. I call every number back, because I don't want to be looked at as somebody who say this and does that. I'm a put my money where my mouth feels type of individual. If I tell you I'm going to do something, believe you me, I'm going to do it. If I tell you I'm planning on doing something, believe you me, it's in the works. And anything that I speak on, you can write it in stone. Otherwise, I'll come back later on. I won't pull I hate that. Like I said, I don't like saying people's name, but I keep talking about that leader of ours who pretty much retracts everything that comes out of his mouth. And it is funny, and we all are just sitting there, witnessing this whole deal, and still nobody's done anything about it. This is an election year. Again, we're going to elect senators, we're going to elect representatives from the national and the state level. We're going to elect school board members here locally. I don't know what's going on in other parts of the country. We're going to elect a new mayor here in Shreveport this year, and I'm in the works of getting our present mayor to come by and sit with us. I've been in communication, but we'll once it's in stone, that's when I'll make it official. But we need to get out there. We need to utilize once again these rights that people have fought and died and were beaten and sprayed with water hoses and dogs shot at them and you know what I mean, beaten by cops. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna, like I said, I don't like to point, but you know what I'm talking about. And these people gave it all they had, and they did all they could, sacrificed themselves, their physical bodies as well as their mental state, in order to get you guys rights that should not utilize into your full potential. And those of you who say stuff like, I don't care, they're gonna do what they want to do anyway, that's not true. That's not true. Only way they're gonna do what they want to do is if you don't do nothing about it to stop them. Because once they're in, does not necessarily mean they're stuck there. Because you can get enough people and a large enough following to where you can raise some attention that will get the media involved. The goal is to get the media involved. And the media is the most cutthroat organization in the industry because they're gonna tell it like it is, and if they gotta dig up under a rock to get information about you, they're gonna get it. So if we could do enough to draw some media attention to whatever we're trying to do, we can make changes, we can make a difference, and we can make this situation a more positive than it is. We can't change the world, you know what I'm saying? Of course we can't change the world. That's impossible. But we can change enough to make the world a better place. We can change enough to make the world more conducive and more livable. And by the time it gets to our children and our grandchildren, maybe the huge change will take place then. It may not be my generation. I doubt it will be. But if you set the blueprint, as Martin Luther King did, you know, as for Malcolm, and as far as all the other greats, you know what I'm saying, that went before us, if you set the tone, then the next generation can take it from there, and they'll get it to the next level. You understand what I'm saying? So until we actually start taking a stance, instead of sitting around, you know, at the barbershops and the beauty shops discussing it, you know, and that's not really going to make a difference at all, and that's not going to cause any change. But if we actually get together as a group, and we start, and I'm talking about white, black, you know, Asian, Spanish, you know, I'm talking about all of us as a whole. If we can get together and we start speaking, and we can get somehow, if not on the same page, just enough to where we on the front and the back side of the page, as long as we own it, you know, we can make a difference and we can make change. And on that note, I'll see you next week on Just Saying with Willie Dexter Harris. Peace.